Welcome to the Pearls of Wisdom podcast, brought to you by Southern Jewelry News and Jewelry Store Marketers. Hello, everyone. This is Guy with Jewelry Store Marketers, and we are here again with the Pearls of Wisdom Jewelry podcast. And my lovely co-host, Elisa Dillon, is here in the house. Whoop, whoop. Always happy to have Elisa around, as many are. And our special guest today is Dan Levinson of Ellis Jewelers in North Carolina. Dan, thank you so much for joining us.
North Carolina in the house. Woo.
Yeah.
You,
I think this is our
Thank
first
you
North
so
Carolina jeweler we've had on an episode. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Carolina.
I'm be here with you, Guy and Elisa.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We're gonna.
Thank you, Dan.
You're gonna be the one, the first of many, let's say, North Carolina jewelers that we're gonna have.
It's great. Glad to be a part of it.
Yeah. So we're really happy that you agreed to come on here and talk to us on the podcast. And we go into the show like Atlanta Jewelry Show and other shows. We see each other time to time, but never have too much time to talk. And we've seen some amazing things from your store. And Southern Jewelry News has written about you, has been writing about you for some time. And but before we get into that, why don't you tell us about your store and the history?
Yes. So our store is in historic downtown Concord, and we've been here since July of 1953. The way we get the name for the store is my father's first name was Ellis, so that's where we get the Ellis Jewelers from. And the cool thing is, Guy, the timing is great. We just celebrated 70 years in business. We just remodeled the inside and outside of our store. We had this incredible ribbon cutting last week. We had about 60 people here at the store. It was amazing. It just was one of those moments where it kind of filled your cup up. We had so many friends, family, various mayors, and just lots of friends and supporters into the community. And so we just feel really fortunate. And so we're ready to crank it back up for another 70 years, Guy.
Wow.
Happy anniversary, 70
Happy,
years.
yes.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Absolutely. I'm looking at your Facebook post, and it looks like a great event. You had a lot of people there.
Yeah, we had 60, 65 people, and it was just so much fun. We have the store decorated with all these old photos of downtown in the 50s and 60s.
I love that.
I have this box. It's just this wonderful box where I have all these original newspaper articles from 53, 54, 55, treasure trove of pictures of my dad as a very young man, right out of the Army in 1953. I mean, it's just incredible. So we have it all over the store. We have videos going. It's just, it's awesome. And, we have 3 and 4 generations of some families coming in here. And it's amazing the way things were done years ago and the way they're done now. One of the interesting things is I have a lot of 70, 80, and 90-year-olds that will just come in many days during the week, introduce themselves to me and say, I know you don't know me, but I know your father, or I knew your father. And the first time I got credit in my whole life was from your dad. I was 19 years old, and I worked at Cannon Mills, which was the largest manufacturer of sheets and towels in the world, here in this Cabarrus County, Concord, North Carolina. And my dad asked me where I worked, and then he said, who's your mother and father? And he said, that's fine, and give me $10 down. I need $10 a month, and you're good to go, and you can take the jewelry. And that's how things were done in 1953.
Fantastic.
Amazing.
Good old days.
Different time, and people valued their credit and their word. It was just amazing. How many people come in and actually say, your dad gave me my first credit.
Wow.
That's amazing. A smile and a handshake, and thank you. That's great. I actually scrolling through your Facebook feed, I see a picture of you and your dad not too far off. You guys look very similar to each other.
They do.
Yep, that was about 30 years ago. And in my family, the DNA, the bloodlines run thick. You can tell we're from the same branch.
Fantastic. That's amazing. Congratulations. It's always fun to hear the history, to learn about the history and how things got started and how the next generation of jewelers are continuing on great traditions, like you are over at Ellis Jewelers. So congratulations on 7 years. Amazing.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
that's really great. And what we saw in Southern Jewelry News is was an article that's kind of came out a while back, and you were telling me before we got started. But looks like you guys started a pretty cool tradition over there with a design contest. And yeah, could you tell us about that?
Absolutely, God. So about 13 years ago, I was working with a consultant type mentor, and we were talking about ways that I could brand a community event. Let me just back up just one thing real quickly. It was very important to me when I bought the business from my dad that we continue to be involved in the community. And I refer to it as hugging the community. So if you look at all these people that come through my store today and I'm looking out, there's people out on the floor now that are coming in. These people have taken care of my family and all my employees for the last 70 years. Life is not one way if you want it to be successful in friendships and relationships and in business. And so when I bought the business from my dad, I decided we were always involved, but we needed to be more involved. And I wanted an event, something that we could do for the community purely to give back. And so this consultant was throwing ideas out, and she mentioned something to me about having some kind of design contest. And so I just took it from there. And it was very important to me that we impacted the most students possible. So we chose public schools. Not to say that private schools or charter schools are not wonderful, but we wanted to have the biggest impact, so we picked public schools. I had some friends within the school system, and I said, this is what we want to do. We wrote up entry forms, we came up with guidelines, and simply what we did is we said, okay, we want to give students an opportunity to design a piece of jewelry, and then we're actually going to make it and present it to them. And what we did was we broke it down elementary, middle school, and high school. So we have 3 winners every single year. And when we judged the jewelry, it was part of it was originality and creativity and fun, but also could we execute it? Some of the kids over the years have come up with these incredible designs. I mean, just crazy good, but I just couldn't execute them from a manufacturing standpoint. So every year in late January, early February, we send out this mass mailer to the school system. It gets into the elementary schools, middle schools, high schools, and some of the art teachers will use this as the project for that semester. Or we even had some of the high schools that were doing CAD work and teaching the kids computer design. They use that as a project. And we just essentially say, make it original, have fun with it, and get it to us by a certain date. Then we have a really special committee of 2 people, my wife Stacy and I, do the judging. And it's a hard thing. We essentially sit down one night after dinner and lay out hundreds and hundreds of these and just go through them and whittle them down. And then we originally would pick a winner from each category. Now, what we've done now is we've expanded it to social media, where we pick the best 5 from each category, we put it up on social media, and then we let the community vote.
Oh.
Wow.
And then we have about a 4.5 week period where we're just running, trying to get these pieces made in time. And normally what we do is we have a presentation here at the store. We invite the student, their teachers, their family. We invite the superintendent from the school. Usually there's some publicity. But the coolest thing about this contest, and it's met my expectations on many levels. One is that we don't expect these kids to be jewelry designers, not many of them, or even to go into graphic design. The goal for me is that these children get to use different skills. You will see that some of these kids have used rulers and graphs, and they're using math and spatial skills and color skills. Some of these kids are like labeling the gemstones. A lot of the children, this is amazing, will have stories behind them and inspiration. Like some of the kids will say, if I win, I'm giving it to my mother. If I win, I'm giving it to my grandmother. Or maybe they had sometimes a relative that had recently passed. And they said, I'm doing this in honor of my grandma, and I'm going to wear this if I win it. And when they say that, I'm like, oh no. I'm like, I wish I could give it out to 50 kids. It's hard.
Yeah.
These kids are all amazing. Some years, some of the designs are so whimsical. Like the best, most complicated don't win. It's some of the most simple, beautiful, playful designs from a child. The other thing that's great about this contest, not only are they using a multitude of skills and reasoning, but also it's a confidence builder.
Oh, yeah.
There are a lot of children that win this contest that have never won anything. They're not playing sports at school. Maybe they're just so students academically at this point. Nobody has ever said to them, way to go. You did a great job. And a lot of kids growing up, that's all they need. They just need one adult to say, you know what? You were awesome. You did great. And what I hope is it's going to propel some of these kids. Whatever they choose to do, they're going to say, you know, I did that design contest with Mr. Dan at Ellis Jewelers, and I won that. So maybe I'm not going to be afraid to fill out that application for college. Or maybe, you know, I'm going to go and apply for this job when I graduate from high school. Like, I'm going to try stuff because I tried this and I was a little nervous, and now I got confidence. And that was the very, very best part of it. And also for the families. Again, as parents, if you have a child, everybody wants to have a chance to be proud of their child and live in the moment with their child. And again, for some of these families, they haven't had their child recognized yet. The parents, the grandparents, the aunts and uncles are so proud. So it touches a lot of people. And I'm telling you, I get more out of it than the kids
I'm
do.
sure.
That's amazing.
So you've been doing this since 2012? Is it every year? Are you...
Yeah, so we've done it 11 years now. The contest started 12 years ago, Elisa. COVID, we had to take a 1-year break. That's all. It was just that first year of COVID, it was so nuts. We just, for everybody's safety, we said we're going to take the year off. So this was the 12th year of the contest, but only the 11th year that we could present.
Do you find that the community, particularly these students in school, are primarily female, or are we seeing both male and female wanting to enter a design contest?
Oh, male and female.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Absolutely. I would say it's about 50-50.
That's good, great.
That's amazing.
Well, I think it's a fantastic thing. You know, we need to motivate our next generation. As you can see, some of the jewelry stores obviously have great succession stories and strategies and things like that. Now, you have 2 daughters, right?
Actually, almost. I have a daughter, and I have a son.
Okay.
And they are already. My daughter's 24. My son's 27.
Yeah.
They are already launched in the world. Off in their own careers. Yeah. So you know.
Are they interested in getting in the business, Dan?
You know what? I don't think so.
No.
I always told my children, I said, you can do anything you want. You just have to figure out what it is that pleases you so that most days you can get yourself out of bed and pay your bills.
True.
And they've met those requirements. And so they're doing their own thing. And I'm happy with it because what I do, retail, is not right for everyone.
Right.
You know, it's you got to like being with people every day. And you got to like
So,
dealing with lots of different situations and lots of change. And I love it. And I thrive on it. And I'm very lucky that my parents gave me this opportunity. But it's not the right thing for everybody. So I never pressed it on my children. My dad never pressed it on
well,
me. I worked 3 or 4 years after college doing many other things before I came back to work for my father as an hourly employee. No ownership,
oh,
nothing. So it's you gotta want to do
yeah,
it, and I think that when it's given to you, it's different. As in, if you have to have skin in the
Right.
game, and my father just said, you're gonna earn it, and yeah.
you did. That's the way to
Fantastic.
do it. Good values.
That's amazing. I'm sure the kids that win are really excited because I was reading in the article that was came out a while back. You don't
Yep.
just make sterling pieces. I mean, you give them diamonds and gold, and make their creations into fine jewelry. That's amazing, and I'm sure they're very excited not only to win but to get something so valuable. So that's really great. It's such a unique type of event that gets the community, like you said, gets the community involved. And I think that's where some jewelers, they look for the inspiration of those events, of what can they do to really get people excited to come
Yep.
into the store. And it's not always about selling, obviously. you know
It's
when
not.
you create an event and people they meet you, learn about you, and maybe that that turns into sales down the road. But it's not always about selling. It's about connecting with people. And this is you've done that very well with this event. That's amazing.
It's really interesting. Because this has some longevity now, there are many times when I'm out in the community for a charity event or a different club I'm involved in, and a stranger will come up to me and they'll say, Dan, I just want to thank you for that contest that you do with the children. It happens so much, especially teachers.
Mm.
Like there's hundreds and thousands of teachers in this community, and this was really interesting. During the early part of COVID, once we got past the worst part, I seem to have a lot of teachers coming into my store, and they would come up to me and introduce themselves and say, Dan, I just want to thank you for this, what you do with the children. You do it every year. My students love it. And we try to come in here, and that's why I'm here today, because we want to support you during all this. And I mean, I can't tell you the
Hmm.
tentacles, you hear that expression, my cup runneth over. I mean, my heart's filled with this thing. I mean, it's just fun. As long as I own this store, as long as I am here and healthy and the store is prospering, we are going to keep doing this. I mean, it makes the kids happy, it makes the teachers happy, it makes the parents proud. And again, it is, if you are in a business, and it doesn't matter whether it's jewelry, but if you expect to be part of a community, you got to be in that community, and you got to give that community a hug. And you can be good with numbers and be a good buyer, and you can be a graduate gemologist, but you have to have sensitivity skills and people skills and human skills. And to me, this is the best part of the jewelry business, to be involved with this community, and again, just to hug them back, and they hug us back. And this was never the intent. The intent was, we need to have a signature project that was fun, but at the same time that people were going to, oh my gosh, people were going to enjoy
Right.
it. And so yep, that's
That's
it.
amazing. Hey, Lisa, I think Southern Jury News needs to put out a new educational series, how to give your community a hug, because that's an amazing
I
concept.
do like that. Yeah,
That's
we,
great.
we, yeah, we'll do our first article by Dan Levinson.
Yeah,
Okay.
How do you give your community a hug? I love that. Yeah, that's great.
that
I,
is
I
good.
love that you do that. I think as jewelers, yeah, we have social media all day long, but get out there in that community and get people excited, particularly because arts, not all public schools have a huge art department. They're getting cut
That's
back.
such
A
a good
lot of,
point.
they're cutting out the art departments, which is very scary. So the fact that you could go in and actually, with the community and give these kids an outlet to be creative is amazing. I wish it was, mandatory in every school that there was an art class or,
Yeah.
so, but yeah, and hey, you might have some future little bench jewelers. What do you think? Did you see some potential in some of these designs and little mini jewelers, mini bench guys?
I'm glad you brought that up. One of the first winners, the first year we did it, a young woman in the high school division, she has gone on. She went to North Carolina State University, got a degree in textiles. Are you doing that wolf pack thing? Okay. I went to Chapel Hill. I'll tolerate it because we're colleagues right now in this
Could be a
conversation.
house divided.
I know. It's okay. We can still be friends.
Yeah, I
Okay,
like the Tar
stop
Heels
that.
too.
Cut that out. But she went to state, got a degree in I think it's like architecture and textile design, and she's probably, I don't know, 32 or 33 now. She's had an incredible career.
Wow.
But I think this gave her confidence because after she won, and even every year she was in college, her mother would stop by here and say, "Hey, Dan, you remember me? It was my daughter that won." And she would say, "My daughter's a junior and she's doing great in school and she's getting good grades." But I think it gave her that confidence, like, I can do this stuff. And that's all it
That's
is.
fantastic.
That's all it is. People need somebody to tell them, you know what? You're a capable person. I see that you're capable. You can do this. Go out and try stuff.
Yeah, that's all they need.
So we haven't gotten bench jewelers, but we've put some good graphic design artists out there.
Oh, very nice, very nice. Well, it's a great what you're doing for everybody. 70 years, it's just, that's quite a milestone, Dan.
Yeah.
I can't believe it. And my father, I'll just tell you this. My father started the store with $1,000. He had took $1,000 loan from the bank. My grandfather lent him a couple $1,000, and that was it. And my dad laughs about this. When he was alive, he'd say, "I was such an idiot. I spent too much on the fixtures and didn't save myself enough money to stock it." So it was rough those first couple of years. You're cash strapped. You don't have enough inventory. You're trying to get your vendors to extend your terms. But my father, he loved this business, and he liked people, and he was one of these people that when he got out of bed in the morning, he was excited. There's a lot of people, unfortunately, that like, "Oh God, it's Monday. I got to go to work. I can't wait till Friday." My father, every morning, popped out of bed, ate breakfast, was ready to go to the store, and he just enjoyed it. And even after he retired, after 55 years, he didn't miss the day-to-day stress and pressures. That was mine now. That's okay. I accepted it. But he did miss the people. And my dad died a couple years ago, but whenever we would talk, the first thing out of his mouth was, "How are my grandchildren?" And then the second thing was, "How's the store?" Mm-hmm. Okay, we've got your advertising set up and what's going on downtown, and asking about vendors and it's all about relationships with your community, with your clients, with your employees, with people like you in the industry that we're sharing ideas all the time, but he loved this. And then my grandfather had a jewelry store in Gastonia, North Carolina, which started in the mid-40s. And so that's where it got into my dad's bloodstream. Mm. So I'm the third generation, and, it's great. People come into us for happy stuff.
That's it.
I don't have any grouchy customers. We fired all of them. We just have the happy ones.
So yeah, absolutely. Well, Concord's a pretty large city. It has grown. For anybody that doesn't know, Concord's right outside of the big metropolitan city of Charlotte. There's a
Yes.
lot of good outlets in Concord, North Carolina. Um, but I do know that that whole area is should be plentiful of customers, and because not everyone wants to go into downtown Charlotte to shop. So Concord is a really cute, quaint town with lots to offer. So is it hard to compete with the guys down in Charlotte with the big stores? Do people come in and say, hey, I could get this in X jeweler down in downtown? What can you do? I mean, I just, or is it not a big deal to have your competition? It's not competition.
It's not a big deal.
Good.
It is not a big deal at all.
Yeah.
What's really interesting is, I don't make every sale in the store. I have a great staff, but I'm listening and observing. And I can't tell you how many people come in and say, I wish we had just come here 1st. I wish, I don't sell every engagement ring in the area, but I sell a lot.
Good.
But for the few that didn't come here initially, somehow they find me to get wedding bands. And I see the young woman looking up at the young man and saying, I wish we had come here. I wish we'd just started and ended here. And that was that. And it's not hard to compete with the people in Charlotte because there's not a lot of places you can go where people are appreciative of your money. Like whether you spend $1 or 5,000 or 10,000, and where people just talk to you and then they listen and they listen and listen before they open their mouth. And so we are doing just fine. This is a great time for independent businesses, especially independent jewelers. I hear people saying all the time, this is the other mantra, I am here today. I read your Google reviews and I consciously decided I want to deal with an independent.
That's good.
I want to go somewhere where somebody is really part of this community.
Right.
Not part of a corporation. There's a huge, I hear it. It's not my imagination.
No.
I hear it once or twice a week. Your Google reviews were great, and you are part of this community. And so I just think we're about to have a renaissance. And Elisa, I want to share something with you. Next time you're in the area, our downtown is getting a streetscape. So they are currently going to widen the sidewalks. We're going to have more on-street dining, more trees, flowers, lighting above. It's a little messy at the moment because they're replacing the 100-year-old water pipes. But in about a year, it's going to be all done. It's going to be beautiful. They're building 3 new apartment complexes downtown. One is across the street from my store. So we're going to have 500 people living down here, new people within about a year. So the whole thing about malls, our downtown is about to blow up. And we have been here and seen everything from when in the 50s, this downtown had all the major department stores. Early 70s, they all bolted for a small mall up the road, except my father and 4 other people stayed. Here we are, 70 years later. All those businesses that left and went to the mall are long gone. And we've had other ups and downs, but here we are after 70 years, and our downtown is about to have a renaissance. I mean, a big one.
That's amazing.
So, I'm excited for you, and I can't
Charlotte,
wait to get down there.
No problem. Next time, Elisa, you're rambling up and down 85, I want you to come here. We'll go have lunch.
Yeah.
I'll show you around, and we'll just see what's going on.
That sounds great, Dan. I'm going to take you up on that.
That's amazing.
I used to travel that road.
You too, Guy. You too. If you get down to the friendly South,
come on,
a lunch for you.
All
too.
right. Sounds. Ooh, I get in on that deal. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds really
great.
amazing. Dan, you've done really an amazing job over there and carrying on the tradition that your father started and so forth. There's a lot of jewelers that look for inspiration, like I mentioned earlier, and look for tips. And aside from such a healthy and amazing history, what kind of advice can you give other jewelers looking to help them hug their community? What advice would you have?
Some of it's just super simple. Like sometimes we don't look around at the resources we have. Like, have you actually paid and joined your local chamber? Have you paid and joined your local economic development corporation? There are we have some great people here in Cabarrus County that are willing to help small businesses, whether you're brand new or 70 years old. Their livelihood is based on our livelihood. They want to see us succeed. Right. So I would say join the chamber, get involved with those kind of things. Just look at, you know what else? Look at organizations that you like. I've been a Rotarian for about 35 years. I love it. It's just the nicest group of people. It's a doing, giving organization. And I've met more nice people that way. So I think just look around. Find something. You don't have to do everything. You've got employees and inventory and running your store, but do a few things outside your business. First off, you'll feel better. Nobody needs to be inside their store all day. It's not healthy. But secondly, you'll feel good and you'll learn more about your community and your customers and what goes on in your community. I just think it's huge for the success of any business. And you don't have to do everything, but pick something, plant a flag somewhere, and get invested.
Fantastic.
Yeah, guys in a business meeting, mentor. Is it what is it that you're in, Guy?
You mean, well, there's a few things. I mean, we have some business networking, but I'm also, have helped a Rotary organization called the Gift of Life. And they help people get the much needed heart procedures that they need to survive, and they bring kids and adults here to the U.S. as well as go into the countries. But there's a really, like you said, there's a lot of great organizations. It makes you feel great, and there's really a lot of value in doing that. So that's amazing.
Particularly if you could keep it in your community, that's the thing. People really want to see, what are you doing for this? What's tangible I can see in the community. So, that's probably been one of the oldest ideas that anybody will put out there to you is, if you want to be successful in a retail, particularly jewelry, which is a very high end, it's very personal, then you need to get out there and be personal and know your community. So, right. That's a good takeaway. And listen up, because that's what they should do.
One other thing that both of you have mentioned, which is real important, and Guy said this in the beginning, you can't always be selling. Okay? Right. Your clients, we call them, they're our guests, they're our friends. They have to have a feeling that we're invested in them as human beings. There are many days here at the store that we will just listen and talk to them for 30 minutes before you even get down to business. And as Guy said, with this future designer contest that we do, it is nothing about me selling jewelry. It is all about the public schools and the community. And people have to know that you care. Right. Once they know you care, then they're willing to be receptive to your message. Right. And you have to be sincere. People will know if you're full of BS.
Mm-hmm. True.
So if you decide, I'm going to go once a year, I'm going to attend a charity event, or I'm going to do one little good thing a year, it doesn't work. Right. You have to say, okay, consistently, I'm going to do X amount of projects every year. It's just 30 minutes here, an hour there, but they have to see that you are a real, normal human being. You have to share your life with them, and you have to want to listen and be empathetic.
Yeah.
That's the other thing, Elisa, besides the community involvement, just be a decent human being.
That's a marketing plan right there.
That's a life lesson for everybody.
Absolutely.
Retail is hard, and people really don't treat retail clerks very well. I mean,
and they are professionals.
Yeah.
I mean, my staff, they're nice, they're friendly, they're educated, and they're good listeners. And it's a certain skill set, a unique skill set that not everybody has. Not everybody can be a jewelry sales professional. Right. So, and yes, people are hard on on associates in many retail situations.
Yeah.
So that's why I have fired all the grouchy ones. You don't let grouchy people come into my
Hey,
store.
sales is hard. If it was easy, everybody be doing it.
That's it.
Right?
That's
Yeah.
it. Wow.
So
So
it does take a special person. I started out at a mall at the Pier Steer. I think your grandparent, your grandfather, and your father probably knew my father, and I think you knew my father with Concept Marketing, Paul Brandenburg.
yeah.
Did you remember
Yep.
my dad, or I'm sure your dad and your grandfather
Yes.
remembered with
Yes.
Concept?
I do know the name,
Yeah.
Elisa.
So yeah, he was a salesman too. He was my mentor as well. So I love it. I love it. The generational uh, influence we get from our elders, from our
Wow.
relatives.
Yeah, that's amazing. There's been a lot of amazing knowledge bombs that people can take away from this episode. You've said a lot of really amazing things that help, and your example with the event and hugging the community and making a difference. It looks like it's also uh, being a positive has a positive effect for your business. Not only do people come in and say thank you, but they probably choose you over other people because of what you do for the community. So that's amazing, and it's just the basics of being a good person, and caring and providing value to people without probably not expecting a whole lot in return, and that so really congratulations on all the success.
Thank
70
you.
years. Congratulations with the the renovated store. Sounds amazing. Sounds like the updating that's happening in your area sounds amazing. We all got to come on down there the same weekend because Dan's buying us lunch.
That's right.
Absolutely. Look, you two, just a big road trip. Just come on down. It's not a bad
He
drive.
goes to
And no
Atlanta.
matter,
He could just come on, drive back,
yeah, absolutely.
Sounds
drive back
good.
to Connecticut or Jersey.
Yeah, yeah.
That would be a long drive. My goodness.
Whatever. But
Well, I've known Dan for a long time in the store, and we wish you, of course, just a great holiday
Thank
season
you.
coming up, because that's our
Thank
Super
you.
Bowl. This is what we wait for all year long, and I sure hope people show up and spend money, and you get new customers, and you just enjoy the holiday season. It's
Thank
already
you.
here.
And you too,
thank
Guy.
you.
And thank you so much for allowing me to be here. I was honored that you asked me, and I was happy to share. And it's just super nice to talk to both of you. And this is one of the nice things about the independent jewelers in this country is most of us want to share and grow. And so it's so nice just to collaborate a little bit. This is a great break in my day.
Great.
Fantastic. Well,
We
thank you so
appreciate you.
much. Yes, appreciate you definitely. And everyone that's listening, make sure you check out Dan and Ellis Jewelers. Give them some love. Check out their website, like all their posts on social media, and but also don't forget Southern Jewelry News. Pick up your latest episode, check it out, give them some love, get on the
Absolutely.
newsletter, get whatever you need to do, give them some love. And my company's Jewelry Store Marketers. Yeah, you could maybe give us some love.
You give him a
But,
call too.
yeah,
He
why
needs
not?
some love. Go hug. Go hug. Go hug a
Absolutely.
guy.
Absolutely.
Go
All
hug
right.
a guy.
All right, I'll accept that too. Thank you so much. So, everyone listening, thank you so much for tuning into the Pearls
Thanks.
of Wisdom Jewelry podcast. Dan, you're amazing. Lisa, you're always amazing.
Oh, no.
And thank you so much, well,
Thank you,
guys.
Guy.
Catch everybody in the next episode. Take care.
Great.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to the Pearls of Wisdom Jewelry Podcast. For more information about the show, please visit southernjewelrynews.com/podcast, brought to you by Southern Jewelry News and Jewelry Store Marketers. Make sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform so you can catch the next show. See you then.